Hey there folks, it is time for something I haven't done in a while, and that is a Workbench Wednesday. Now, I was never really sure quite what to do with these things because they're always a little bit timely, and stuff that I put on these is not necessarily stuff that's going to show up on the channel. It's literally just a glimpse at my hobby and stuff that I am doing behind the scenes, as well as one or two clues to what might be coming up on the channel. Most of what I'm going to show you today is probably going to be solo to me, to be honest, but I don't want to bury the lead entirely. I will show you some stuff that I've got plans for in the not too distant future. Well, hopefully by the end of this week anyhow. Now, the other reason that Workbench Wednesday, I kind of wanted to make a comeback here, is that I'm very conscious of advertising. I don't just want to end up being a channel that does nothing but Kickstarters and, new miniature lines and stuff like that, because it doesn't necessarily interest me. But the flip side of that is that there are quite commonly, particularly Kickstarters coming along with cool miniatures that I am interested in. So as a result, I feel it's a little disingenuous to not share what I'm keen on. So rather than dedicating entire videos to one thing or the other, whatever it might be that's coming along, Workbench Wednesday gives me a chance to just go, hey, have you seen? Or hey, I just spotted. And share a little of what people are showing me that I think you might like, because folks mention quite regularly that they like the breadth of miniatures that show up on the channel. It's not always Space Marines, although I have got a Space Marine lurking to the side here I'm quite keen on. But the range, I think it interests people seeing a little something different all the time. So, like I said, those new ranges and Kickstarters, maybe this is a slightly more, I don't know, it feels less like I'm trying to pitch something to you. So the first thing I want to show you, let me just put these things aside, are these dilly little miniatures here. Now these are from Northstar Miniatures. This is a Hornblower range, and they are the Shield Maidens, which are just amazing. They're 15mm scale. They're pretty high fantasy in their style. And there is enough of them to actually make an army, which I think is just brilliant. So I happened to express an interest in these over on Twitter, and the team at Northstar very kindly got in touch and said, hey, do you want some? They didn't mention anything about a video. They were like, you don't have to do a review. We're just keen to see what you might do with these miniatures once they're painted. And I thought, well, gosh, that's cool. By coincidence, we'd been talking about 15mm figures on the Discord, chatting about what games you might play, maybe small scale, Rangers of Shadow Deep or what have you. And then, of course, these come along, and they're just wonderful. They're so detailed. I'm really looking forward to getting a bit of paint onto those. So thank you to Northstar for letting me have some of them. They gave me far more than I was expecting. When they said, do you want a couple? I thought, oh yeah, gosh, maybe 5 or so of these little figures. I've got enough to do a 15mm army of fantasy women. So I don't know that I'm going to paint quite that many, but they are great. Looking forward to a little bit of paint on them. They are definitely going to show up on the channel. And as with everything, I'll make sure that there are links in the description, so if you want to check these out too, you can go find them. Now this figure here, this is Lee Miller from Bad Squiddo Games. She was a combat correspondent and photographer during the Second World War. There is a movie out about her recently called Lee, starring Kate Winslet, and I've had this miniature for an age. I've really wanted to paint her up and do something with the figure. Bolt action being on the brain at the moment, I'm not sure, because I've done, American uniform all the time. It would be cool to do like a little historical piece on her as I'm painting her, but I'm not sure that would necessarily interest a lot of folks, given that I have done the uniform before. All the same, I am looking forward to putting some paint on her. This is one I think is going to be just for me. And another in the just for me realm, this Headless Wonder here. I've popped her head up on a separate thing because I want to prime her and paint that separately. This is from the current run of Daughters of the Burning Rose from Anvil Industry. This one is the Inquisitor from, I think, last month's Patreon pack. That's available up on My Minery Factory and on the Anvil Industry website now. They also do printed versions of these too, so you're not missing out if you don't have a printer. I used the multi-shell function to take the demon head off because I don't want to paint a demon head, I just want a gun there. So a little bit of conversion, and I'm going to use her, I think, to test out some more oil painting techniques. Again, this one's going to happen behind the scenes. I'm just going to have a play around, see what I come up with. But I will share it, of course. Twitter and Blue Sky I've got at the minute. You'll see the finished results there. And then, of course, you can't really avoid Space Marines at the moment. Space Marine 2 has hit like a thunderbolt, and everybody is painting their Ultramarines. And honestly, between you and me, they're really cool. Everybody picks on Ultramarines for being, oh, it's baby's first Space Marines. Oh, they're vanilla. Well, yeah, not everybody can be, Space Vikings or interview with a Space Marine. Somebody's got to be relatively normal. And defining any sort of Space Marine as normal, I think, kind of misses the point. But I digress. Before I really get into one there, Titus, I got him. He's actually out of a box, Space Marine Das Brettspiel, which I don't know exactly where it was released, but I did pick it up in Germany here, and it cost me 20 euros. So I picked up Titus for less than the price of a blister pack of a Space Marine Lieutenant. He did also come with a bunch of card scenery and some Tyranids, so bonus. I am quite looking forward to putting them together and having a paint. The pose on this one is a little bit funky. I think he's coming with the Hachette, the Space Marine Collector magazines as well, so don't ask me. You'll have to do a little bit of Google foo to figure out where you can grab this guy now, but I think they're going to spend a bit of time getting their money's worth out of this particular frame, because you'd be silly not to, especially with Space Marine having done so well. Anyhow, yeah, maybe I'll have a play with some oils on this guy as well. I am interested to see how I can get like a clean finish, because I've done obviously the Death Guard recently, but a clean Space Marine painted in oils might be a bit of fun. Then finally, I'd like to print quite a few of my tanks, particularly if I can find high quality files for them. This fella here, he comes from Wargame 3D, and again, link in the description. I've wanted a Crusader for a while. It's on the cusp of early to mid-war design, and you can see I have not very well, there's a little bit of a dip here, but once it's painted, you won't see it. Now, I have this thing where I like to support my own prints, so I tend to print a hull, first of all, and then I have this habit where instead of printing one turret alongside, just to make sure, because when I was starting out, I wasn't terribly confident with some of my supporting and my printing, so I would print 2 turrets for each hull. Now, I don't know what exactly possessed me this time, because instead of printing just 2 turrets and then needing a second hull, I printed 3. So I've got a Crusader platoon now, or a Crusader squadron rather, for bolt action. I really can't imagine there's ever going to be a point at which I put 3 Crusaders on the table, but it's nice to have the option. And they'll look cool in the cabinet while they're waiting. So, yeah, just one that I will probably end up doing on the channel, because I do like the desert stuff. I do like the Crusader. It's one of my favorite little tank designs. But yeah, that is what's up at the moment. So if you've been up to anything cool, drop it in the comments. I would love to hear it. And yeah, that's it for another Workbench Wednesday. You folks, enjoy the rest of your day.